In this video, we are going to discuss the second part of the array processing in structured programming, that is multidimensional arrays. So, in C programming, uh, we can define multidimensional arrays, right? So, this is the general form of declaration of multidimensional array. That means we can specify the data type and then we can have the identifier, or in other words we call array name, and then we can define the size, what are the sizes of each dimension, right? So in earlier we define 1D or one dimensional array, right? So in multidimensional arrays we can define uh, uh, a set of dimensions, right? So in your case, in space we can have a x, y, and z dimension, right? So if it is a plane, we can have a x and y dimension, right? So this is example for declaration two-dimensional integer array, right? So int, then the name of the array, and then we can specify what are the size of x and y coordinates. So for example 2 and 3, right? So this is the example for declaration three-dimensional integer array, right? So int is the data type, and then 3dim is the array name, and then what are the dimensions, right? So let's take a two-dimensional array, or in simply we call 2D array. 2D array, right? So in 2D array can be considered as a table which will have a x number of rows and y number of columns, right? So in 2D array we can consider it is as a table, right? So which will have a x number of rows and y number of columns, right? So for example, in let's take a 2D array which contain two rows and three columns. All right, so then it can be shown something like this, right? So in horizontal direction we can define say three columns, column 0. So keep in mind, so always the array indexing starting from 0, therefore I label column 0, column 1, and column 2, and then I can have two rows, row number 0 and row number 1, right? So usually we take the row number first, and then we can specify the column number, right? So this is the row 0, column 0. So this cell can be labeled as row 0, column 0 cell. So this cell, or this simply we call this box, but usually we call, if this is a table, we can say this is cell. This is row 0, column 1. So this cell can be labeled as row 0, column 2. So this cell can be labeled as row 1, column 0. So this column cell can be labeled as row 1, column 1. So this can name as row 1, column 2. So likewise, each cell uh, can be identified by using its column and row number. All right, by using its column and row number, which is identical, which is unique. So for example, so this label is unique within this table, row 0, column 1. That means we can't have row 0, column 1 other than this, right? So that is we can have only one cell. We call this is unique. That means this label cannot be repeated. All right. Okay. So how can we take the indexes of this kind of structure? All right. So this is how we index. So in here we can have a array name. So I told you that first of all, let's take the row number. So that is standard. First of all, we have to take the row number. Then this is row 0. Then the cell is uh, row 0, column 0. Then this cell can be labeled as by using its array name, and column row 0, column 0. This can be labeled as row 0, column 1, right? So these are the indexes of 2D array, right? So this is row 0, column 2. Always we have to take the row number at first, then the column number. So this one is row 1, column 0. This one is row 1, column 1. This one is row 1, column 2. All right. So likewise, we can specify the cell or the cell index by using the row number and the column number, right? So for example, so this is row 1, this is column 1. So this one is row 1, column 1, 1 1. So usually we call this is 0 0, this is 0 1, 0 2. This is 1 0, this is 1 1, this is 1 2. All right. So first of all, we have to specify the row number and then the column number. Right, keep in mind row, column, row number, column number, right? So by using row number and column number, we can easily name or we can easily label this particular cell of the 2D array, right? Okay, then let's see how to initialization two-dimensional arrays, right? So the multidimensional arrays may be initialized by specifying a bracketed value for each row. That means each row can be inserted within brackets, within curly brackets, right? So in here, I'm going to declare a 2D array which will have 2 rows and 3 columns, right, of the type integer. All right. So in here, data type is int, the identifier or the array name is num, and then here I have to specify the size of the array. Since this is 2D array, so here number of columns are 2, number of rows are 3. That means this array contains 2 rows, each row having 3 columns. All right. So in here, each row can be inserted within brackets, right? So this is row number 1, which is labeled as row 0 because indexing starting from 0. So this is row 0, and then here I insert the values for row 1. So in here I have 2 rows. Number of rows are 2. This is row 0. This is row 1. All right. So these rows are inserted within 2 curly brackets, right? So each row having their own columns, right? So each, in this case, each row having 3 number of columns, right? So the column labeled are starting from column 0, column 1, column 2. Number of columns are 3, right? Column label or the column index starting from 0. This is column 0, column 1, column 2, which is in row 1. So this is column 0, column 1, column 2, which is row index 1. And then I complete the 2D array declaration. All right. So 2 rows inserted within two within curly brackets. All right. So opening and closing curly brackets. All right. Okay. And then these values are separated by comma, right? And then 2 rows are separated by a comma, right? So in here you can continue, right? So if there are so 2, 3 or 4 rows, so we can continue. All right. Okay, so this is the memory organization for the 2D array. So in here I declare 2 rows. So this is row 0, this is row 1, right? So this is column 0, column 1, column 2, right? 3 columns and 2 rows. Indexing start from 0, right? So like this. So in here I'll mention it. So this is column 0, this is column 1, this is column 2. So this is row 0, this is row 1, right? So in terms of row and columns, right? So we can specify the cell address or the index of the cell. So this is 0 0. So this is 0 1. First of all, we have to mention the row number. So this is 0 2. This is 1 0. This is 1 1. This is 1 2, like that. All right. So the multidimensional arrays may be initialized as follows too. So you can use this method as well. So in this method, we are not going to separate 2 rows because in here I specify number of rows and number of columns of each row. Then the compiler knows in first row they have 3 columns, the second row they have 3 columns. So this is row 0 in indexing. In terms of indexing, this is row 0, this is row 1. So this is 0th column of 0th row. This is first column of 0th row. So this is the second column index of the row 0. So likewise, we can identify the indexes, relevant indexes, right? Okay. And then how to access two-dimensional array elements, all right? So in here, so this is my 2D array, all right? So we can use the indexes for accessing array elements, all right? So if you print 0, 0 index followed by the array name, so here the array name is num 0, 0, which is 10. So if you print num 0, 1, which is 20. So because this is for 0th row, right? So this is a 0th column, this is first column, this is the second column. So this is 0th row, this is first row 1 in terms of indexes, all right? So 0, 0 means 10, 0, 1 means 20, 0, 2 means 25. This is 1, 0, that is 65. So this is 1, 1, which is 55. This is 1, 2, which is 45. Likewise, we can use the relevant indexes for accessing array elements. All right. So we can use the relevant indexes for accessing array elements. All right. Okay. So we can use uh, array. So we can use the loop for accessing two-dimensional array. So we have to use two loops. That means a loop within another loop, right? So this is called outer loop. So in this loop, I control simply we call. So this is for accessing a number of rows. So here this loop goes to 0, 1. That means this is 0 row index 0. This is row 1. All right, and then inside the first zeroth row we have to access 3 elements because there are 3 columns. So 0, 1, 2. Then therefore I have to insert another loop which is going for 0 to 2, 0, 1, 2. That's why I use less than 3. All right, then we can print the relevant index. So this is a row number, this is column number. If you want, you can use R and C. All right. Okay, then we can have a print statement. After printing particular row, we can have a /n or go to the next line. So likewise, we can access the array elements. So let's see how to do this coding in div C++. All right. Okay. I'll go to the div C++ software, right, and take the new program, right. Then now I am going to declare a 2D array, right? So first of all, I'll import standard input output file and the main method. Okay, so this is the block of main method. Then first of all, I'll declare say int r and c for the loop, and then I'll declare array, right? So this is a 2D array. So I'm going to have 2 rows and 3 columns, or in other words, uh, uh, the array which is of the size 2 and 3. All right, so this is my array. So I'm going to declare these 2 rows separately, so this is easy to understand. So in within first row, right, so within first row I'm going to have say 3 elements. So let's take different numbers, right, 50, 60 and 90. So this is first row, and then this is the second row. All right, so in here I'll take say 80, and then say 75, and then uh, say 95, like this, right. Okay, so this is the second row, right. Right now I'm going to access this element, right. So I use say r means row. How many rows? There are 2 rows. Then I'll start row from 0 and then it should be go to the 0 1. Then if you want, you can use less than or equal 1, or you can use less than 2, and then R increment by 1 for the iteration. And then inside the row I have to access column always starting from 0, column indexes, and then how many columns? There are 3 columns. In indexing start from 0 0 1 2, then we can say less than or equal to, right? And then C increment by 1. Okay, so within the inner for loop we can access the array element. All right, so these are, since these are integer, I can access like this, say keep space, and within the num array, right? So here row index is R and then column index is C. Okay, so after printing the particular row, we can have a next line. Go to the next line statement. Okay, then I'm going to save this one as a 2D array 1.c, something like that, right? So I'm going to show this one in a different folder, say within the programs folder array, right? Say I use say 2D array 1.c. Okay, first of all I compile this. All right, so go to execute and compile, and then I run this. Okay, now I can have the relevant output. So in here, this is my array. So here I print the values of array. All right. Okay. Likewise, I can access the 2D array elements by using the relevant indexes. All right. Okay. The next one is how to change the array element. So this is the array that I have declared. Right. So if I want to change this array values, again I can use the relevant index. If I want to change the 0 0 index or 0 0 cell, then I can say num 0 0, then here I can assign a number, the required number or the required value. Likewise, we can use the indexes for the for changing the array elements. Likewise, I can change the array elements. Then the relevant organization of the array like this. So in here, the 0 0 is 50, then 50 come to here. 0 1 is 60, I change that. 0 2 is 70, and I change this. 1 0 is 80, I change it. 1 1 is 55, then here I change into 90, and 90 come to here. Then 1 2 is earlier 45, then here I change as 40, then that come to here. Likewise, I can use the indexes for changing the array elements, right? Okay, then after changing the array elements, so this is my declaration. So here I print the values, and then here we can change it, and then we can print it by using the same coding. All right, so let's do that. Right, so I use the same source code, then I save this one as a 2D array 2.c. Right, so this is my first array, and then after that I'm going to change it by using the indexes. Say 0th index. So sorry, in earlier the 0th index is 50. Now I put say 60. All right, so in earlier means this one, this is 50. Now then I change say 0th first one. No need to change the all the elements, right? So just I change few elements. So in here I put say 80. Okay, I change only two values from the first row, right? So from the second row, let's see, I take the row second row, that is index 1, then I'll change this one. What is the index? 1, then this is 2, the column index is 2. I put this one as say 100. Okay, after that I can use the same code for the accessing the altered array. Altered array means the values are changed, the array which has been changed. All right, so this is the code for accessing the elements of after changing the elements of the array. Right, so here I change the 0 0, that is this one, and then 0 1, that is this one, and then 1 2, that is this one. Okay, let's see. I compile this and then I execute. Now you can see, right? So in earlier 50 60 90 80 75 95, and then I change the 0 as 60 in here, and then 0 1 as 80, and 60 is I change as 80, and then this is as it is, that is this is 0 2, that is as it is, then this is 1 0, that is that has not been changed, then this is 1 1, that also not changed, that element has not been changed, then the 1 2, this is 1 2, this is 1 1, this is 1 2, right? That is changed as 100. Now you can see the changes are applied, right? And then I print it in here, right? So if you want, you can keep some space, right? So if you want, you can keep some space after uh, printing the first one, then we can have next output. So in here I put say 2 line space, then we can print. So in here we can print uh, array after changing elements. All right, I compile this and then I run this. All right, now you can see, yeah, actually after this message we can have a next line statement. Compile and run this. Now you can see this, right? So after array after changing elements, so this is the a new array. Okay, likewise we can use the indexes for changing array elements, right? Change two-dimensional array elements. So those are the basics of 2D array. So you can practice these programs, right? So you can practice these programs, then you can have a better idea about this concept 2D array. Okay, thank you very much.